big week. I think everybody's excited anytime that you have a rivalry game of this magnitude. I know that the fans and our players and coaches and everybody look forward to this game every year. Certainly Georgia has a good football team. I think they're probably better than even their record would indicate. Some very talented players. Offensively, without question, Todd Gurley, if he's not the best running back in the country, that's a small line that he would be in. Very talented player, not only good at running the football, talented in the passing game as well as a receiver. A lot of check downs, a lot of screens, and they do a good job getting him the ball. Their offensive line has done a very, very nice job, I think, all year. And, so they've been a very explosive offensive team. I think defensively they were young to start the season. As you watch the tapes that go through, certainly they've made progress. The two linebackers, I think Ramik Wilson and Herrera are both really good players. The K84 coming off the edge, Floyd, the freshman, is good. Garrison Smith has played very well against us every year he's played inside. So challenge for our guys, but one we're looking forward to. So with that, I guess we'll throw it open for some questions.
We've talked a lot about this year about, stopping the run first. And, of course, this week it's going to be equally as important. What have you seen from the front seven this year in accomplishing that, stopping the run?
Well, for the most part, I think, we've been pretty good on rush defense for the year. We've, depends on how many guys you got to get in the box to stop the run. That's the key. But clearly they're going to run the ball some. I mean, when you've got backs like they do, they're going to do that. They're going to get him the ball. He's a load to tackle. So that'll be a challenge, but you can't put so many guys in there that you give away the passing game and keep your guys on islands. So it's kind of a mixed bag. You've got to mix it up and hope that your guys in there, the front six, can play the run, and you don't have to get a seventh guy or even an eighth guy down in the box sometimes.
So it's two-parter for you. I just know you have respect for Aaron Murray, just thoughts on his career. And secondly, is there more an unexperienced quarterback like Hudson Mason that you'll be facing?
Well, first on Aaron Murray, I mean, clearly the guy's been a tremendous football player at Georgia. I mean, he's had a great career, and I've got a great deal of respect for him. I think that just his competitive nature and the way he competes and the way he's brought them back so many times says all you need to know about him. Hudson Mason was a highly decorated player coming out of high school at Laster. He threw for a lot of yards. In fact, as I guess fans will do when people talk, I can even remember in the last couple of years people clamoring for Hudson Mason instead of Aaron Murray. So clearly he's a talented guy. I don't think that it'll change a lot what they do. He's been in the program 4 years, and it's an opportunity for him to showcase what he can do. So we don't expect that anything much is going to change with him in there. We've got respect for him, even though he hadn't played a lot.
Coach, have you thought about the message you're going to give to the 17 seniors in their last game at Bobby Dodd? Is it any different than the whole team, or do you pull those guys aside?
Well, I don't know that it will be one single message, but, during the week, you think about it, you talk to them. We condition on Mondays, and our guys always look forward to the gassers. I'm being a little facetious. So normally we run several. Yesterday we only had the seniors run, and they ran one. I told them for most of them, that'll be the last gasser that they run, especially here at Georgia Tech. But, it's been a good group. I'm really proud of them, not only for what they've done on the field, but off the field. I think that, they're all in line to get their degree. Probably 6 or 7 of them already have their degree. So it's been a good group, and certainly we're going to miss them. I think it really hits you as a coach at the same time it hits them is when you're out on the field on Saturday when they're honoring all the seniors and you see them with their family for the last time. You realize how much time and effort that they've put into the program and what they've meant to you, not only as a player but as people. And so it's a good group.
You try to recruit your type of kids, your type of athletes. Does every class though have a different identity, even though you're trying to get the same guys? And if so, what was maybe this class's?
Well, I don't think there is the same guys. I think all guys are different, and each football team has its own identity. I think that's developed from the leadership on the team, be it the seniors, be it underclassmen, whoever the leaders. But clearly for most of the guys who come here to play, it can't just be about football. It's got to be about academics, and that's got to be important to them, or they won't last. They might show up, but they're not going to last here very long if the academic part of it is not important to them, and they don't embrace that as well. So I think that for the most part, that might be the one single trait I would say that most of them have in mind, because you've got all kinds of different socioeconomic backgrounds, ethnicity background. I mean, it's like any other place I've coached from that standpoint. We've got guys that come from about every background you can imagine.
You talked about what Robbie Goddard has meant to the offense more than once this season. I just was looking at his yards after contact numbers, which are pretty doggone impressive. Is that something that through the years, have you noticed, like sometimes on a team you'll have one or two guys who kind of set the standard for that, or kind of lead the pack? Is that something that other backs kind of pick up on and see one guy busting it like that and they get after it too?
Well, yeah, first of all, before I answer, I guess congratulations is in order to you for well, either way. But, Robbie has such a strong lower body. It's like we talk about, he's not the tallest guy in the world or the biggest, but from the hips down, I mean, he's really built and solid. And I think and he's a really strong guy. So I think sometimes his size fools people in that he's pretty explosive and a hard guy to get down. And also, I think sometimes where those guys get the ball out on the perimeter, they're more inclined to break through corners and safeties than sometimes the guys inside with big guys. But clearly, no doubt, I mean, the way he plays is infectious to everybody else, and he's been a tremendous player for us. Not only this year, but the last couple of years, really.
We ran something with David Sims last night, and he was telling us a story about Joe Hamilton telling him about the rivalry with Georgia and Georgia Tech, and he's like, "Remember, you guys, when you won the ACC championship, beating Georgia is better than that. You've done both. What's a better feeling?"
Oh, I don't know. Did Joe win the ACC championship? How would he know? But I think that we got the point. It's a big game. Everybody understands that it's a huge game. So David told me that story yesterday walking to practice as we were walking down. Clearly, our guys want to win the game. I get a chuckle sometimes out of people who say, well, make sure our guys take the game seriously. Like if we were going to take it more seriously, we would play better. I mean, we take the game seriously. I can assure you the guys want to win. What they have to do is be able to control that. And, I was telling somebody earlier, I had the pleasure of working with Irk Russell for a long time, the old coach, and he had all kinds of phrases, but the one he coined one of the ones he coined that stuck with me, a lot of them stuck with me, but he always talked to the guys about playing with intelligent fanaticism. And that's kind of what you have to do. You can't just go harry-carry and play with such emotion that you're out of control. You have to be able to funnel that and control that emotion, and certainly you got to play with that kind of emotion and that kind of effort and attitude in every game, but especially the rivalry games. But the team that can control it is the team that has the best chance. And clearly, both sides want to win the game. It's a big game, and I think that both sides take it serious.
You mentioned Jabari a few minutes ago. Has he responded, after not starting a few weeks ago in a way that you'd want? Is he being more productive in your opinion?
Yeah, he hasn't played a lot of snaps because we haven't played a lot of base defense, and he hasn't been on nickel. But you know, I think that that Jabari's answered the call and has played well and done what we've asked him to do. It's been a case of we just, you know, he wasn't in the package. It was on the field most of the time is why he hadn't played as much.
Or how does the UGA Georgia Tech rivalry compare to the Army-Navy rivalry?
It's different. I think that, you know, all the rivalries are unique probably into their own thing. Somebody asked me that earlier today, and I think the Army-Navy rivalry, there's such respect for each other for 364 days a year. I mean, now, you know, when you were there, everything in the weight room in Navy says beat Army. You know, when the plebes square the corners, it's beat Army. You end the fight song with beat Army. But yet, when the game is over, you'll see the two sides embrace. They'll go sing each other's alma mater. You know, there's that respect, and they know they're going to be on the same team, defending the country. Probably everybody doesn't quite feel that way with this one. You know, there are probably a lot of people who have the respect, but there's a lot of people who don't. So that's probably the biggest difference. And a lot of times, this one's going to go on for, you know, if they're in Georgia or they're around each other, I'm sure that they rib each other with this one for a long, long time, where, you know, those guys who play in the Army-Navy game, they may be on the same mission somewhere depending on each other for support. So it's kind of a little bit different probably in that way. But make no mistake, they're both very serious rivalries. I mean, both, you know, you want to win both of them. We had a little better success with the other one to this point than we have with this one.
The defense, you know, and you talked before about how, you know, it doesn't have to be rocket science and so forth. But I'm curious, in what way have you seen Ted make the biggest impact on those guys over the course of, you know, the time he's been here?
Well, I don't know that you can single out one thing. I think that when you look at the defense overall, I think that, you know, the first thing you look at is we've got some seniors over there that have played a lot. And the more you play, hopefully the better you're going to get no matter what you do. I think that he's made it fun for them to play. They're not bogged down with all the thought process or what ifs. That's simplifying. You know, you turn them loose and let them play, and that would probably be the biggest difference. And I think that it's like I said before. It's like you guys want to evaluate the group after every game, and it's hard to do that. You have to also factor competition into it and who you're playing and that kind of thing. And you know, we can play a game like last week, and on offense and defense, we can crush people. And then the next week you're not very good against a Clemson or a Georgia or whatever, and it's like, what happened? Well, maybe nothing happened. Maybe it was a different competition level or a different type deal. I think our defense has made vast improvements this year. I think the stats would bear that out, and I think that Ted and the staff has done a nice job. And I think there are a lot of contributing factors, including what, you know, their coaching ability.
Georgia's given up almost 400 yards a game, 30 points a game. In looking at tape, what have you seen opponents, is there a certain area they've been attacking them, they've had success against that defense?
Well, I think early on they had a hard time just getting lined up. I mean, they turned a lot of guys loose, and they also played some pretty good offenses. But you know, the last few games they've been better. You know, Auburn, they gave up some yards, but they forced them to kick field goals in the red zone when they got down there. Again, maybe you know, it's who they played a little bit, but I think that they're just growing up. They got a lot of young players, and it's hard to pinpoint. If I could tell you, I wouldn't. But I think it's hard to pinpoint exactly where they've given up a lot of big plays in the passing game where they've basically turned guys loose. And it's not got a lot to do with ability. It's just got to do with, you know, doesn't matter how fast you run or how high you jump. If you don't cover somebody, they're going to probably catch it if they get time to throw it. And so there's been some of that. I would say that's probably the biggest thing is just growing pains. because they're very talented. They've got talented players. They always have.
You scoreboard watch?
Not really. I learned a long time ago. I try not to worry about things I can't control, and you know, that's out of your control. I mean, could it happen? I could see it happening. I think two of the teams we need to win may even be favored, but it's, you know, that's something that's out of our control. We could have taken care of that at Clemson, and we did.
Todd Gurley, is there someone you would compare him to in all that you've seen over the years?
Well, I never had a chance. I mean, I didn't coach a team that played against him or whatever. But Herschel Walker, big guy, runs through people, fast. I mean, he's a good player. He's going to be a good player for a long time if he doesn't get hurt. I mean, he's not only going to be good at Georgia. He's going to be a heck of an NFL running back too. He's got all the tools that they look for. I mean, like I said, he's good at running the football, big and physical. He's a good receiver coming out of the backfield. He can do a lot of things. He's a good player.
You mentioned going against the Georgia scheme. You know, they're going to do obviously a lot of the same things offensively that they do. But when you don't have a lot of film of a guy like Mason, does it make it any different, or is it any more difficult?
You know, you'd like to have the film, but not really. I mean, you have to get ready for what they do, and they're not going to totally change their offense in 3 days from what they've been doing for years. No matter who the quarterback has been, they've run the same system. Now, will they highlight him and what he does better? Maybe, sure. I mean, that's what they'll do. But if you have watched and listened, and what little bit you watch him play, he can do all the things that Murray. I mean, he can throw the field out. He's got a strong arm. He can clearly he knows their offense. He knows the how to set the block in. He knows the checks. He knows what they want to do. So I would imagine that their game plan would be more geared to what they want to do against us than it would be, you know, what Hudson Mason can do. I think that they've got confidence that he can run their offense probably. And if there's a certain thing that he does better, if there's certain throws that he makes between the hashes, outside, yeah, they may focus a little more on that, but it will be in their package. I don't think they'll have to change anything for him playing.